Well, good morning again, and now we are back to rather the more light-hearted side of Mirador Television's presentation each morning. We just had a very feisty debate with, and I use that word advisedly, very feisty debate with Andrew Sloan. Andrew's a great guy who owns Grizzly's hairdresser or barber shop. Every time I say hairdresser, he takes me to task, smacks my fingers. One of the interesting things is that he will be open on the two bank holidays for Jubilee, which is interesting. And I wonder how many more people will actually be open on those days. We will not be, although we may well tap in and out if there are things of interest going, and we're wandering around because we've got that capacity, and we will do it. But as those days unfold, what we'll really be looking at is Thursday, Beacon Day, Thursday the 2nd of June, Beacon Day, when beacons will be lit right across the country from pillar to post, stem to stern. And we in Lewis will not be let down. In fact, it looks as if we're going to have several. And the famous Firle beacon, although not confirmed, will be blazing brightly as the day goes by. And on the Saturday night, the 4th of June, then there will be sort of celebrations all day of one sort or another, and sideshows and all that sort of stuff. As the day goes by, so you can make your way to Morling Field. I say Morling, I hope I got it right. So I was taken to task yesterday for mispronouncing it. Morling Field, where you will be able to see the fireworks. Now, the invitation to Morling Field is because you cannot, unlike the bonfire societies on bonfire night, you can't even buy a ticket to get onto the bonfire site, the fireworks site. It's going to be a splendid display. The Town Council have put 15 grand into the pot to make sure that the bonfire societies who are running the thing, but jointly, not as the bonfire societies themselves, can actually get the best fireworks and can make sure that it's a dazzling display. And it sounds to me as if it's a very, very good way, of celebrating the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. So that leaves me with a couple of things. First of all, I was going to play you, and indeed I will, one of our little things that we put up for. Let's see. I think. Downloads is the best place to go, here. I'm going to play this one first of all because this is there is a souvenir program out which Mick Symes was on the other day and pushing very hard. Let's show what that is all about. And there you are, there, and here we are, broadcasting from the White Hart Hotel. Now that little souvenir program, it is a slim volume, but it's packed with information, and it's been put together by a group of well-meaning business people and local activists and so on and so forth. It's a nice little number. I really like it very much, and it costs you £3, and you can get it from various outlets around the town. And those so-called activists will also be selling it in the streets and in the precinct over the weekend. So keep your £3 handy in cash, as I don't think that they take credit cards. In fact, I'm almost damn sure they don't. Keep your £3 in cash and buy a copy, because it'll tell you what's going on, but also give you a good background into the visits of royalty here over the years, and a bit of an outlook about who we are and what we are, and how we fit into the scheme of things. Now, I'm putting just that over there because what I'm trying to do is, if I can find the bit and piece, is to make sure that I can see the picture we were putting out, because I already said, and I'll say it again, we are going to actually truncate our broadcast today, simply because we had a terrific program yesterday. We had a terrific amount of fun and games, and I fear that the picture is far from pure, and that you're seeing things and being tempted to stay tuned to us. So we're going to see what we can do about boosting the signal today, having taken a look and got the best advice that we can as to what's going wrong. Actually, looking at it there on the monitor, it doesn't look too bad. But I think that the strength of the signal depends on coming out of here, but also not all of you will have a high fast band internet connection, and so we have to take account of that as well, and try to do the very best that we can so let us see what we've got. Now, we just looked at I know what we'll do is Max Hurd, our young apprentice, a great guy, and yesterday, and he's getting used to hosting these things, so perhaps I can have a day off at some stage. And he hadn't been to Lewis really in any real way, even though he only lives 4 or 5 miles away. Hadn't been to Lewis in any real way, and we asked him to do a little a feature on Lewis, and he did. And this you wouldn't see this on the BBC or ITV, and thank God you wouldn't, with their stilted ways of doing things. But he did a nice little job, and this is how he saw Lewis. And perhaps some of us could do with reminding about what Lewis is all about. So let's put it up.
Today, I'm in a small town called Lewis, in the south of England, just a few miles away from Brighton. I will be taking a walk through Lewis and some of the historical sites, which date back over 1,000 years in this show, Hidden in Plain Sight. One of the best things to do in Lewis is explore the streets, as there is lots of historic twittons to explore and look through. The high street is packed with small and independent shops, and there are plenty of pubs and restaurants to choose from. Lewis Castle was built just after the Norman conquest in 1066. The construction of the castle was started in 1068 and only took 2 years to complete. A war broke out below Lewis Castle, a war between Simon de Montfort, Earl of Leicester, and Henry III in 1264. Lewis is well known for its history, and one of the historical landmarks is a place called the Hart Hotel. Whilst not being so obvious at first sight, it has a significant role to play in American history. Thomas Paine was an English-born American political activist, philosopher, and revolutionary. He authored books called Common Sense in 1776 and The American Crises in 1776 to 1783, two of the most influential books in American history, and had a major part to play in the start of the American Revolution. And it helped inspire the Americans in 1776 to declare independence from Great Britain. Thomas Paine also wrote a book called The Rights of Man, which is referred to as a cornerstone to modern-day democracy. And it all started in the small town of Lewis, in a room in the Hart Hotel. But Lewis is not just known for its history, it's also known for its natural beauty. In the greater Lewis area, there are some beautiful rolling hills and hiking trails that you can just walk through for miles, and whilst on these trails you can truly appreciate the beauty of the English countryside. The River Ouse is one of the longest rivers in the country and goes through Lewis. It's a beautiful sight to see and is home to many different species of fish. Lewis has so many different trails to choose from. It can take you all through the town, fields and hills. I would personally recommend Marlingdown Nature Reserve and the Lewis Downs, as you can stand atop of the hills and see for miles, which is a sight to behold and one you don't get to see that often. You've been watching Mirador TV and this show, Hidden in Plain Sight by Max Hurd. Thanks so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.
Right, that was Max Hurd's little initial look at Lewis, looking at Lewis through the eyes of people from outside rather than inside the town. Now, I am monitoring our output, and while I'm looking at our studio picture, which is pristine, pure, is our the picture that we're broadcasting is not so hot, and that's why I'm going to just take another 10 minutes or so. And then call it a day for this morning, because we are taking a look at it to see whether we can get this right. We certainly need it right for the Jubilee. Just a welcome to a viewer, a lady I know actually is Joy. Let's see, Joy is Winger, Joy Winger from the United States, and very happy to have her on the show, or at least viewing the show. I've never met the lady, but I know that she is very beautiful and lovely, and she is a fashion expert. And I have been sort of half negotiating to try and get her to do a little fashion show for us, showing us what the fashion trends are in America. Haven't been terribly successful with it yet so far. But then who knows? What are my powers of persuasion like? It is difficult to say. But anyway, welcome, Joy. And the picture quality is, and my good friend Kevin Kramer, who is an expert in these things, sends me a little note saying, your picture is still crap, Keith. What are you doing about it? Well, what we're doing about it is just to make sure that we don't waste any money by getting the wrong thing. So we've been doing some investigation as to what is the best way to make sure that we're sending the signal through these very, very thick walls. Because this hotel is about 500 years old, and it was built to conserve the heat in days gone by, and although it isn't necessary nowadays, nonetheless, those walls are as thick as well. I'm going to say thick as two short planks, but no, they are very sturdily built. And what was good for the goose is not necessarily good for the gander, because what happens is that they actually block out the internet signal. And so we have to find a way of going through the walls from where we are to the router in the hotel. And we are attempting to do that. So do stay with us, and I hope that that we can resolve that. So at the beginning of next week, all will be well, and you will be able to see us much better than you have been able to since we launched on April the 15th. We first started on April the 15th, so we've been going a month now. How time flies. I wouldn't have said that. I would have said it was 2 weeks ago. But it's not. Now, one of the things that we do is we bring you up to date with the front pages of the newspapers, so let's do that. I've just had a very feisty debate with Andrew Sloan of the Grizzlies barbershop on Market Street. Quite a remarkable young man, Andrew, because he actually has turned his barbershop almost into a social centre. And people go in there, have a lovely time. Some of them don't want to leave. Anyway, the I, failure of leadership, it says. So the I is accusing Boris of failing to be a leader. I don't know if that's true or not, but this obsession with partly a bottle of champagne, partly a Keir Starmer's curry, and so on, is I mean, it's nonsense. And the thing is that the people that are poncing up and down being purer than pure are exactly the people that have well, they live in the same bubble as the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition, and they enjoy the same privileges and the same perks. So I think it's a case of the pot calling the kettle black. If you really want to get rid of this sort of stuff, is get rid of all your perks. That's what you should campaign for. Yes, I can see you doing that. You won't. You'll turn around and tell us how hard you work. And that is the most patronizing thing that anybody can say as a politician or about politicians, how hard they work, as if the rest of us didn't. And we work 10 times harder than they do. We put in 10 times more longer days. And the fact of the matter is that we put it in quite often, if you're an entrepreneur and you own a small business, is you put it in 360 days of the year. You get about 4 off. So don't come with me as they work very hard and they deserve these perks. No, they do not. They are there because they are feeding stuff into their own pockets. So all this shouting and so on so is a bloody smokescreen when we've got all sorts of other things like cost of living, inflation, a war, still a lot of to do with the pandemic. We got all this piling up. And what are we doing about it? Arguing about an ice cake and a glass of champagne. It's absolutely diabolical. It's disgusting. And until somebody takes the lead, never mind. And the newspapers, for God's sake, whatever happened to the Great Fleet Street? Now the newspapers are just going along with it, as if, well, yes, this is the sort of fight that we should be reporting. No, it's not. And there are more people that are saying, come on, tell us what's going on. Tell us what the government is doing about the various issues that are blighting our daily life here at the moment. Is here, The Guardian, drinking, fights, vomiting, all in a day's work, says the PM. So what? Well, they are or they're not. Let them sort it out quietly in the background. Let's go along and stamp on those people who are fighting and vomiting. That's what should be happening while we allow these people to get on or not, as the case may be. I'm not suggesting that they are all competent of handling some of the issues that we've got, but at least we should give them the chance to focus on it instead of all this rubbish. The Mirror, Partygate official report. Yeah. Come on, Daily Mirror. Laughing at us all. Who cares? Who cares if people partying are pointing the finger and sort of look at those poor buggers out there who have to work when actually what we're doing in here is drinking champagne. It's done all the time. All the time. There's nothing new in that. And just because it was done in this context doesn't make it any nastier or less odious than it is when it's done the rest of the time. But where are you? Where are you complaining and pointing these things out when it's happening, when it's not the Prime Minister involved? Right? You're not anywhere. Not anywhere. It goes right out of your mind, right out of your sight. Well, it's about time we started to call all of you, all 650 of you, to account. And however many there are in the House of Lords, I have no idea. And then another couple of thousand or so civil servants who have never had it so good. Never had it so good. They go to work when they feel like it and quite often don't do work at all. And working from home is the biggest laugh of the century. Work from home. I can't find anybody that works from home that admits that they actually don't do all sorts of domestic things during the day. And you can't focus. And you're not talking to your pals. You're not talking to people working on the same thing. It is nonsense. But do they want anything done about it? No. What they want to do is to yell and to scream and stamp their little feet over a bloody ice cake. It makes my blood boil. The Metro, we got away with it. Yeah, what the hell? So it does it matter if our courts, law courts and so on, so is mass murderers get away with it sometimes. That's the system. We have to live with the system, unless you want to alter the system. But don't come screaming and crawling after the fact. The Star, jackass PM. Well, it just shows a picture of an England football fan bearing his arse in one of the overseas countries and making an idiot of himself, and it's suggesting that the Prime Minister has done the same thing. Now, the Daily Mail is it's not always everybody's favourite paper. It's not always supportive of the government. But in this is say, is that it? In other words, exactly what I've been saying is, what a fluff about nothing. And they run a picture of Boris actually in his office with some Marks and Spencer sandwiches. They say Marks and Spencer sandwiches. I'm not sure. I think they're doing that just to illustrate it. There's no suggestion that they may be Marks and Spencer's sandwiches on the packages, and some orange juice and other berry juices. Is the one photograph is no better than the other. And using photographs like that is it goes without words. And are the words full of accuracy? It's no way of telling. And the Daily Express is really, is this what all the fuss is about? Yeah, well, I would say the same thing to some extent. I don't say that we don't need to follow up, but it can be done behind closed doors. It can be done by some of the institutions, such as the police, such as the inquiry that was set up. Let them do these things and not have our MPs get carried away and have their minds taken off the fact that people are still pouring across the channel. People are still going into hospital with COVID. People are still having problems with price rises of food and amenities. And people are still worried about inflation, which they don't understand because they've never had to face it before. And that can be the most iniquitous thing. On the energy front, yesterday, because Sunak said, listen, we'll not only have a windfall tax, but we'll widen it a little bit, and so on and so forth. The energy companies took a beating. So that meant that their shares, the value of their shares went down as people tried to sell and get out with half-decent money from what they put in. So the whole thing was in uproar. How many papers reported it? The Financial Times, that's all. That's all. The Sun. The Partygate is over. Now help our readers through desperate cost of living crisis. Now the Sun has stood on the sidelines in the main. It hasn't got involved in any of this stuff. In fact, it's talked about footballers and celebrities and so on, but some key issues on the Partygate effort issue has been raised. So it is for it to say the Partygate is over. It is then time, I think, for us to say it is over. Let's get on with things. Move on. The Financial Times, Johnson unbowed as Gray lays bare lurid details of number 10 parties. Disappointing for the Financial Times. The Financial Times should actually make that its headline. After all, it's excellent coverage of business and the markets and so on, all the things that are affected by the issues that we face, and it actually gets sucked into is Boris a clown or not? The Daily Telegraph, Sunak to extend energy bill relief, which was one of the things that sent the markets into freefall yesterday, and the Times, the energy bill handout to ease the big squeeze. And talking to Stuart, our energy expert yesterday, is that we know, and he agrees, being the expert, that this way of just a tax and then handing out money to people is not the way to do it. And he had an ingenious scheme where we do it a bit like the pensions, is that we find a way to top up what people are missing, so that everybody benefits, but not evenly. And the poorer will be looked after, while those people who are less poor still get some benefit from the whole thing. So there we are. It's 10:16, and I said I was going to go at 10:15, and here I got totally carried away with the headlines again. Now that picture at the moment isn't too. That's not that bad. That's not that good either. So that's what we're going to try and over the next couple of days. So I am going to say a toodle pip to you, and cool it, as they say, for this morning. so that we can get on with doing what is it called? Essential maintenance, I think. Essential maintenance, if you're doing it in people's in other. Good morning.
Morning, Pete.
It's Sally who's taking the dog out. How are you this morning?
Oh, well, how are you?
Oh, very well, thank you.
Good, good. Nice
One of the three ladies that beams at us when we come in. It's just absolutely marvelous. You come into this hotel just for the smile.
Oh.
Right, there we go. Another lovely moment during the morning. And we will be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow, and we will run a full morning. But this morning is we really do need to do something about this picture, and this is really the only window of opportunity that we have. So forgive us for calling it a day early, if you understand what I mean. So here we go. Toodle pip. Thank you for being with us. See you tomorrow.